Welcome to City Update. I'm Gab Roberts, and today I'm joined by Scott Bullard. He's the Emergency Management Coordinator for the City of Fayetteville, the Fayetteville Fire Department. Now, I think the last time we've hung out for any exterior appear, it's been a few years when we were both working out of the Emergency Operations Center. So it's I know we work very closely during hurricanes, and that's why we're here today to talk about National Preparedness Month, which is coming right up.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the number one thing a person can do to be prepared for a hurricane, or for the any type of disaster?
We ask that people start with an all hazards plan that is much more than just where you're going to go and what you're going to do, but it involves who you're going to notify, who you're going to be in contact with, and having kind of an overall sense of where are the important things I need to grab if I need to go somewhere. What do I need to do to make my family safe? It could be incorporate also school and work. What if something happens when you're away from home? Do you need to get back home to get the things that you might need to take away with you? And always, if there are people dependent upon you, whether they're actually adults or pets, that depend on you to take measures to protect them as well.
It's important to have that plan in place before anything happens.
Absolutely, and that plan should be flexible enough to use for anything that might happen.
Because I know just from my personal experiences, when storms have hit, when that pressure's on, it's easy to forget things. So if you kind of have something you've thought through and you planned ahead, it can make it a lot easier in that stressful situation.
It can, and just a few months ago, you'll remember back, we had a little hiccup with the fuel supply, something that seemingly insignificant caused people a lot of problems. Just from the standpoint of not driving till the gas light comes on. Mm-hmm. Maybe keep it half full and drive off the top of the tank, especially if you have a long commute.
Yeah.
That's all part of that plan.
And I know another part of that plan is one of the things that public safety asks of people, the first 72 hours is on you. 72 is on you. So we talk a lot about the 72-hour kit. Why is that so important? What should you include in that kit?
Well, it's important because we have to give the responders a chance to catch up because so many things are prioritized. Life safety and rescue is always going to be their first priority. And with us just maybe sitting in the dark is not a life and death priority at the moment. But you still need to take care of your family and build a kit, be it a box, that's fine. But I don't really recommend a box sometimes because there are certain things won't fit in a box. Like a gallon of water per person per day is not going to go very far in a box unless you have a huge box. So it's better just to put those gallon jugs on a shelf somewhere in the closet. But in your box or in your bag, you need to have those things like batteries for whatever electrics you might be using, batteries for flashlights. Some people still have the old school radios that require the batteries, chargers for phones. We also recommend and refer people to the hand crank models. After a few turns, it'll sustain you for a while because that piece is really important on staying informed about what's going on. People have so many things to choose from food and nutrition wise to put in that kit. There are things that stay shelf stable for a very long time. I also urge people to think about if you have small children, put some things in there to keep them busy. The old coloring book and crayons is great to keep them occupied, and it's going to be boring, especially if you're sitting in the house with the lights out waiting on power restoration. Something that people sometimes overlook are medications. That all needs to be a part of that kit.
You're not going to be able to go to a pharmacy to refill.
No, the drugstores could be out of power just like you are and closed and inaccessible.
Yeah, and I think it's very important to have that all together. I know in our family, my wife always buys an extra flat of water every time she goes to the grocery store. So we have all those extra flats. So about a gallon a day per person. Food for you and your family, pet food, medications, anything that's going to help keep you healthy and safe for the first 72 hours. And I guess that leads us up to the next and final question. I know like right now we got a hurricane taking aim on the Gulf Coast. It's probably going to be one of the strongest so far this season. And it's also COVID going on right now. You got your mask here. We're staying 6 feet away. We're in a well-ventilated space. So how does that affect when we're talking about planning for shelters? Because, that could be a dangerous situation for some people.
It really becomes a challenge. And as you touched on, we're in the next week or so approaching the climatologic peak of hurricane season. And right now, if we're counting of the 21 names that they typically give us, we're on number 9. So we're getting kind of close to that midpoint and where things happen to be. And with that being said, we have to make arrangements so that if we can avoid a shelter situation, stay with family, stay with friends, leave the area if it's an area that has problems. And that's not just limited to the coast if you're actually vacationing at the beach. It's the areas that have been impacted by flooding, which we know well. And find somewhere to make your landing spot, because the trouble with the sheltering is that the capacities are shrunk because we have to do the physical distancing and all the masking and PPE requirements. And it's not going to be a comfortable situation. It's going to challenge the staffs of the people that provide the sheltering. So they're not going to have the capacity, the manpower, and the resources that they're used to having. So as much as you can do by being self-sufficient is really going to help in the long run.
Well, I appreciate it. I know it's a busy time getting ready to come up. I think usually when, it seems lately, all the big storms that hit our area is usually coming in October timeframe, late September. So I think it's really important to get prepared now. So when that storm does hit, you and your family are going to be taken care of and you'll be ready. So Scott, I want to thank you for coming on and sharing all that great information about National Preparedness Month, which is the entire month of September, but you shouldn't wait till then to get ready. So I encourage you, make a plan, get your 72-hour kit ready, and make sure you have a plan in place if you do need to shelter. And Scott, thank you for joining us.
Absolutely.
And I want to thank you for watching.